You actually wrote questions down.
Yes.
I didn't take it half as serious.
Well, no, it's a proper Q&A, mate. Okay. Welcome back, guys, to Travelling Out There. Thought last video was going to be our last one, but decided to cut the drive home from Broken Hill short. And we just thought we pulled up here at the Murray. Got dinner going on, as you can see. Thought we'd do a bit of something different, do a bit of a Q&A video. So just got a couple of questions we're going to ask each other and about the trip and go from there. So, boss, you want to go first?
I'd love to go first, mate. All right, so if you were heading into the Simpson Desert, what would be the first, or if you could only do one modification to your vehicle, what would it be?
So, bog standard car and then one mod.
Yep.
Straight away, suspension. I do suspension, take it into an actual specialist, get it weighed, see what they recommend based on what you're going to be carrying, and just do suspension. Doesn't need to be a massive lift or anything. If you need GVM, do GVM, but you need to upgrade your suspension. Corrugations on those roads and the whoops and everything and the washouts, need to do it. What about yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I'd do suspension as my first thing, for sure. As you said, the corrugations, whoops, washouts, all that sort of stuff. It is just brutal on the suspension. And especially on a trip like that, you're carrying a lot of extra weight than you sort of typically would with extra fuel, extra water.
Especially the fuel.
Yeah, fuel's a big one. Like, it's such a heavy item.
We took, how much was it? We took 13 jerry cans between 3 cars. I had 4. The 200 had
4 as well.
4, yep.
And the 79 being a bit thirsty, I took 5.
And we made it to Birdsville with, I had 1 jerry can left. So it was, I think, good planning to have that extra spare just in case we need to spend an extra day. But definitely, like, you're carrying, that's, how much is that altogether?
I had 230 kilos of just fuel in my car alone.
Yeah, just fuel. And then, I had probably about 180 to 200 litres of water on board. So there's another 200 kilos, which you're not normally carrying. So make sure that, your suspension is set up properly.
And even just to add to that, like, I don't know if this is a modification or it's sort of a wear item, tyres, I would recommend having, like, it doesn't need to be the biggest, chunkiest muddies, but
would you take tyres or suspension? Because you did say one.
I would definitely take suspension as a modification, but I feel like tyres, they fall under a bit of a funny category.
If you're going to be doing the Simpson and you need new tyres, just get some good new tyres. I've got a set of all-terrains. I've got Falcons. Love them.
Yeah, I've got Yokohama GO33s, mud terrains.
And on the 200, we've got Mickey Thompsons. So all did the job well. So, yeah. So, what surprised you most about the Simpson Desert?
The thing that surprised me the most is how green it was out there.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I've sort of seen videos of other, like, YouTubers and stuff.
Shout out Paulie and Macca.
Yeah, Paulie and Macca. Seen you blokes out there on YouTube. The good stuff you blokes do. And TJ, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the amount of water that they must have had was insane. So it was just green. Like, you'd look out in between the dunes, and I'll probably chuck in some B-roll here, but it would just be green in between the dunes, and it looked like you were almost in a safari rather than in the desert. It was crazy. And you'd come up, just all the flowers and everything. It was crazy. One of the other gentlemen who's with us with the Blue 200 is a very avid botanist. He loved looking at all the flowers and everything in the desert. It was amazing.
I hope you post some of them pictures up.
Oh, they're going to go up. Yeah,
he
definitely.
took some good photos there.
Yeah. One thing that surprised me, honestly, was and don't take this the wrong way, was the lack of technical driving that was actually needed to do the Madigan line.
Yeah, 100%.
I did most of the Madigan line I probably did 50% in 2-wheel drive, another 49% in 4 high, and then 1% in low range. You actually didn't need it. You were going, it was all firm soil. I can imagine in the wet, definitely need 4 low. But in the dry, it was just slow going, the whoops, the dunes. The biggest part was getting up and over some of those dunes, the soft, right up the top. But yeah, definitely 4 high was the main one that I was in most of the time. What about yourself?
Yeah, honestly, I was in 2-wheel drive for pretty much all the Madigan.
Geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you said, some of the top of the dunes got pretty soft, where you probably should be in 4 high maybe, and at least that way you're not spinning your
you got
tyres.
8 cylinders, you're going to use them.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah. Back to you.
Back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely thinking music. What sort of spares would you recommend taking on a trip like that? And sort of tools and stuff like that?
Yep. Okay. So what I brought was basic toolkit. So sockets, couple of big spanners, Allen keys, screwdrivers, that kind of thing. Spares, as for spares, I brought a spare air filter. Obviously, being on the dust all the time, want to change that out in case, I checked it in Alice and it wasn't too bad. Then checked it in Broken Hill, no, Tippenbar, and it was filthy. So yeah, just having that to change out to a fresh one just means your engine's breathing clean air and being able to get that air that it needs. Also, just assortment of fuses and such. I had one of the fuses for my fridge go. Just replace that and all good. That's why they're there. You'd rather the fuse go than any of the wiring melt. One thing that I probably should have brought was a couple of spare bolts and screws. Thanks to Maddie, I did not. I managed to do some repairs, just minor repairs that you don't really think about. So, things coming loose.
They didn't come for free. Don't worry.
No.
He was my bartender for quite a few nights of the trip. I'd just have to click my fingers basically,
yeah. Yes.
and there was a new beer in my stubby holder.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I took an assortment of bolts, washers, which both of them got used quite well between the 200 and the D-Max.
Yeah. What did you end up using?
What I used out of my spare toolkit
For your car?
for my car, nothing. I used a screwdriver once, just because a couple of screws on my shelf come loose.
Yeah. One thing that actually is a good point that I would suggest is, I'm going to add it to my kit, just a gas soldering iron and learn how to do some basic soldering if you're comfortable at doing that. So the 200 are, 3 days into the trip, 4 days?
Yeah.
Pretty early on into the trip. Indicators just stopped working. Indicators, hazard lights, everything. So we're trying to figure out what that was. Couldn't find an auto elect in Alice Springs to be able to help us out. But one of them recommended just tracing back from the indicators. We took the indicator out and we just saw the load ballast. It just come off. So being able to resolder that out on the tracks was actually very beneficial, because obviously you don't have indicators or hazard lights, then you can be in a bit of strife and it can mess up your whole trip, because obviously if a copper pulls you over for that, then you're in it deep. Yeah. So here's one for you. What is something you wouldn't bother to bring along again?
Ooh. That's a good question, because I feel like I've used everything. Like, okay, I didn't use my gas bottle in this trip, but
it was there in case we needed it.
It was purely just an in-case thing. Same with the extra jerry can. I didn't really need it, but that's something that I'd personally just rather have extra fuel.
Oh, of course. Rather have it than have it and not need it, than need it and not have it.
Yeah, no, I think I packed, or maybe clothes and stuff. I probably bought too much. It was a bit hard because we're in Mildura now and it's quite chill.
There's a reason we're sitting so close to the fire.
Yeah, whereas up further north, like in Alice, it was actually really cold at night.
Yeah, I think it got to -4.
-4 one times, yeah. But yeah, other than that, I think I brought pretty much what I needed, and I don't think I am missing anything either.
Yeah.
Did you bring anything that you don't think you needed?
Well, one thing I wouldn't bring again was a high-speed lead distribution device. We were told there was a lot of goats around here. Didn't see anything, but that's what it is. Went out hunting, but yeah, wouldn't bring one of those again. As for that, anything else that I'd bring, everything that I had because I needed it or thought I would use it. Like, I would say, if you're looking, don't overthink getting an awning, even a straight out awning or a 270 or 180. We used it maybe a couple of times. Again, depends on what you're doing for your camping. If you're going to be camping, it's going to be raining or even sunny or anything, it's great. But where we were, it was relatively temperate during the day, didn't need the shade. You're either looking for the sun to warm up or you go hide. And even at night, it wasn't dewy or it wasn't wet or anything like that. So if you're looking at an awning and you're not sure, just work to what you're kind of doing. But as for that, there wouldn't be anything else that I wouldn't bring.
Look, I feel like the money you could spend on an awning, you could potentially put it onto something a bit more important, maybe.
Oh, nowadays it's, some of these awnings are suspension kits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not naming names, but they can be up to $2,600 for an awning, and that's a decent level of suspension or set of tyres.
On the 79, I've just got the basic 2 metre by 2.5 metre old school awning, basically, that I took off my old car, and I just bolted on here, and I literally never use it. It's an old Iron Man one, and I literally never use it.
Yeah. Back to you.
Back to me.
Yeah.
All right. What would you recommend for doing for, like, food? Like, how would you prepare for a trip for your food?
So, good thing for us, we planned out, we kind of sat down, we worked out, okay, we're going to be gone for 21 days. So that means that we're going to need 20 dinners, 20 lunches, 20 breakfasts, because obviously you don't have the breakfast the first day, you don't have dinner the last day, and lunch, who knows. We maybe accounted for a couple of dinners out, but all in all, we just sat down and we planned, and we had just a list of what are good things that you can prepare beforehand and either freeze to be cooked later, or it's not quick, but simple meals. For example, so we had chicken schnitzels that were prepared very lovely by the 200 and Matt's mum. Thank you, Doris. It was really nice. So they're all done, prepared, and because they're frozen and they're nice and thin, they stack really well in the freezer. So we did chicken schnitzels for dinner. We had just a barbecue dinner, sausage, meat, veg, that kind of stuff. Spaghetti one night as well. And then breakfast, honestly, keep it simple. Cereals, nice every now and again, a bit of bacon and eggs, but you don't want bacon and eggs every day. You're on the road all the time. I guess, I don't know, yes, I like bacon and eggs, but I've had a bit too much of it in my life, so probably should cut back on it. It's probably a bit better to have less, so that's always good. And really, you get up, you drive the car, you sit, you drink a couple of beers, you repeat. You're not really doing much physical activity, so yeah. And then lunches were stuff like wraps. We had, because we've got an oven in the 79, just the chicken tenders that you heat up in the oven, do that. Or even hot dogs. Boil some water, put some hot dogs in. Just good filling food that we had there. And just plan. So we had 20-something meals or so that we had written down. We went out for dinner twice, because that's more power to you if that's what you want to do, but that's what gets expensive. 2 people go out for dinner, that's $80 to $100 after you got drinks. You do that every night, that your trip cost doubles. Whereas here, I think we spent maybe $500 each on food for a 3-week trip.
Oh yeah, for the whole thing. Yeah. We've gone a bit extravagant tonight,
got a lamb roast tonight.
So. Yeah, and we've done it once before on the trip, but tonight was our last night. We thought, treat ourselves a bit.
Yeah, and it's just making sure that you've got it. So we're going home with, I think we've got 1 barbecue dinner, a couple of schnitzels, and some stuff for a butter chicken, and a couple of groceries here and there. But the best thing I would say is plan before you go, based on how many people are going on your trip. Obviously, you're not going to just do this trip as a spur of a moment thing. If you can, more power to you. But try plan if you can, and prepare the weekend before, just so you're not having to spend so much money while on the road.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that and try and sort of be a bit smart, I'd say, with the food that you have. So obviously fresh produce isn't going to last 2-3 weeks in your fridge. It's going to go a bit funny by then.
Yeah,
so
a couple of floppy lettuce leaves.
Yeah. So we try and have, say, our chicken tender wraps where they're going to have some tomato, cucumber, lettuce in them. We try and have them early, and then things like hot dogs where we've frozen the rolls, we've frozen the hot dogs, that they'll last the whole 3 weeks if you want. So we have them sort of towards the end of when our groceries start going a bit low.
Yeah.
Same with the dinners, like the chicken schnitzels, we had frozen veg with it, we had potatoes, which potatoes last a while anyway. So they're a good dinner to have later on in your trip. Yeah, so just planning, as you said, planning is a big thing.
I'll let you keep going with that. I'll check something. Sorry, back again. One thing I don't want to say recommend, but one thing that we found very, very beneficial for planning food was the fact that my fridge the 200 is running 2 fridges, but my fridge is a dual zone fridge, independent dual zone. So it means that one side can be a freezer. So we can have that stuff frozen for a long period of time, and it's not going to go off, it's not going to go bad, it's not going to go funny. Again, if you are looking at fridges, I would recommend go the biggest one you can, that you can fit in your setup. But if you can go a dual zone, independent dual zone, so you can have a full freezer on one side and then one at a fridge, that's something I would recommend to most people.
That would be very handy, yeah. I've got the 60-litre Ingle, and it's the combi one, so it's got 2 zones, but they're only controlled by one dial.
Yeah, you've got cold and colder.
Exactly, yeah. So, which has worked in our favour in this trip. We've put the fresh produce in mine, where it's not that cold, and on the other side's like a nice temperature for beers. And I know on trips you're not necessarily going to have 4 fridges between 3 people like we have.
Yeah, so it's a bit OTT. But...
Yeah, we were very fortunate on this trip to have that facility. But yeah, you just got to plan to what you've got, I guess.
Yeah, and just work with what you got. And yeah, again, I think the big nature of this trip is planning. Planning just helps so much. So, any casualties in terms of your car? Anything broke? Anything? We kind of touched on it a bit earlier, but anything? Anything come out unscathed or?
Only thing I've had a couple of really bad things in the 79. Well, this was heartbreaking.
Oh yes,
I think this happened to all of us on this trip due to these corrugations. I've had
just a lot of moment of respect, please, out of our loss.
Yes.
The loss of the community.
I've had multiple burst cans in my canopy. My canopy now smells like a mixture of diesel and beer. So it's a bit of a diesel-powered brewery or something in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've had them pop in my fridge.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure I've got beersicles down the bottom of my motor.
Yeah. Be a nice snack when you get home.
Oh, yeah. Taking it out and just going to rinse out the whole fridge. Yeah.
And, yeah, other than that, I've had a couple of screws come loose in my shelf. I've got a shelf in the canopy there, and it's just got 3 little screws holding it down. They come off, and the screw hole in the oven. Just tighten them back up. Apart from that, I believe that was all that came wrong with the 79. How about yourself?
I wish I could say the same. So, I've got a new drawer set up in mine. I thought screwing it into the wood with turnbuckles and stuff to secure it in the tub would be enough. 95% of the time, yes. Corrugations, no. 3 out of the 4 turnbuckles have undone and just deposited themselves on the side of my tub, meaning that the whole drawer system can move around, which is fun. A couple of screws have come loose, so the things holding the turnbuckles have even come down and broken. The gas bottle holder that I've got, again held in with screws, came undone.
Oh, so where'd you get the screws to fix that?
Some guy gave it to me. Random guy on the track. It was a bit weird. Really short. 79 seemed like he was compensating for his height, or other things. Other than that, not too much. Side steps. I've still got factory side steps. They're not side steps anymore. They're auditory alarms that I've hit my side step. But honestly, the big one was the 200. The 200 actually had a few issues. The big one, as I said earlier, was the indicator issue, but we also had a scrub bar just undo itself and cracked a weld.
Yeah, it snapped the weld.
Sorry, it snapped the metal before the weld, actually. Again, on the rear tyre carrier, snapped a weld. Look, it is some harsh corrugations. I can't fault the companies for it. It is some hard corrugations out here. Like, we're talking like 0.5 metre deep by 1 metre long and just constant. Like, you can't go slow over them because you're still bottoming out. You can't go fast over them because it's shaking itself loose. But yeah, it is some hard corrugations out here. So if you're coming out here, use bolts, don't use screws.
Yes.
We're going to spend a weekend. Someone else is going to spend a weekend. You're getting paid with a Palmer and a pot.
Oh, okay, that's all right then.
Always have a good chippy mate that knows how to work with wood. Okay, your turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got a good one.
Mm.
So, we've been on the road for quite a while, and as we all know, I'm driving a 79 series Land Cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a number for a good chiropractor?
Yeah, if anyone does know a good chiropractor for Matty, put him in the comments, because
Yeah.
he gets out of the car after about 3 hours and he's rubbing his back, and he tries to walk it off. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Try not to show it, but meanwhile, the D-Max, lovely.
Yeah.
Supple as. So, yeah.
Oh, your turn now.
Okay, fair enough. As I said, any changes you would make to your setup, if you had to do this again, would you change anything around, or would you do the same thing again? Would you keep the jerrys in the one car, or say, nah, stuff you, take your own jerry cans?
No.
You can have diesel oil over your own canopy.
No, I'm quite a nice bloke, I think. I would once again take the jerry cans for the convoy.
I would like to say that I took most of the food, and the 200 took most of the groceries, so we'll just... It was fair, we just didn't lump it all with him, because he's the only one with a canopy. But
yeah, probably just the way I've stacked them, I'd probably try and restack them a little bit better. Just I found that a lot of the weight was on one side. So as we're going through some of the potholes, like the car would really sort of fall in on one side and really shake the whole car.
And then your sand flag would go and almost touch the
Yeah, the sand flag almost touched the ground a few times as it waves.
Yeah.
Other than that, my car was purely just the fuel truck, basically. Yeah. So if I was to do it again with these boys again, yeah, I'd probably just have the same role again.
Yeah, and that's one good thing that we find with doing group trips like this is not every person has to be independent, We had, like, if Matt was by himself, he wouldn't have had really any supplies for anything. All you had, other than a couple of ham sandwiches in the freezer.
Yeah, fridge, yeah.
But because of the way we did it and split the groceries and fuel and everything that we need to take between 2-3 cars, it meant that we could specialise, and we could have the fuel truck, and we could have my car as the groceries and the food. Like, you didn't even bring a cooker, did you?
I didn't bring a burner, no.
Yeah.
Dad had 2 of them. Nick had 1.
Yeah,
so
it's just working out, as you say.
I brought my little one.
Yeah.
For the coffee in the morning.
Coffee. The important one.
Yeah.
As for myself, as I said, I wouldn't really change much. I got GVM done pretty much 3 weeks before the trip, and the difference that made was phenomenal. So, I love my D-Max. It's a great little car. I'm sure he's going to say the same about a 79. I don't need a chiropractic after getting out of it after 3 hours. It's a lot more comfortable, but that's fine.
You're built for comfort, though, by the looks of it.
Not speed. But Nor's a 79. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning into this kind of bonus episode. Let us know what you think of these kind of Q&A episodes as opposed to the travel kind of videos, vlogs, whatever we want to call them. We're just trying to see where this goes. So if you've got any comments, feedback, as long as it's nice, put it down in the comments. We'll be there, hanging out, have a chat. Like, comment, subscribe, share it around if your mates, if you really want. And we'll see you on the next one.
Right, thank you. See you. Travelling out there.